So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing fabulous. Well, as always. So, I want to tell you about. I'm going to start telling you about all the movie stars I've met. I I started sewing when I was, and it's a little story, when I was 11. And I sewed most of my clothes, well, all of my clothes in high school except for coats. And then in my 20s, and then life took over. But I had a love and a passion for fabric. I love fabric. I'm passionate about fabric, but not today's fabrics. I became passionate about old fabrics, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, and up until 1950. I researched, I bought vintage books. I had a whole library and studied everything because I couldn't afford to go to school to be a costumer or to study historical stuff. So I had books from like the 1870s telling how to sew by hand, and books on the new, sewing machines, the pedal sewing machine. But anyway, I learned on a pedal sewing machine. So years later, when I was in my 40s, or yeah, about 40, I started a business concerning fabric. And that brought me into contact with working with the movie industry and all the costume houses in LA, and just everybody, anyone who collected vintage. So this was before I got involved in that, but this was my first encounter with a movie star, and I didn't know how I would react meeting a movie star. I never thought about meeting a movie star. But I worked in an office building in Oakland, and as I was getting off the elevator with a friend to go to lunch one day, in through the front door walks this man that I immediately recognized. Now, I didn't know where I recognized him. I didn't know he was Danny Glover. I thought he was one of the lawyers from the top floor, and I treated him as such because he said hi, and I said, "Hi, how are you? How's blah 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 business?" And just like he was an ordinary person, and my friend, she just could barely speak, and she's pulling on my arm, and I'm like, get away, get away. And he was handsome. Oh my goodness, he was so handsome. This was early 90s. He was so handsome. And very large man, all muscle. He was just gorgeous. He was just gorgeous. So I was really talking to him. How are you? Blah, 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 upstairs. And he just went along with me. He knew I didn't recognize who he was. And he was kind of laughing, and I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, just carrying on a conversation. Well, I'll see you later. I got to go to lunch. I scheduled my lunch. See you later. Oh, yeah, sure. And he's laughing the whole time. And my girlfriend stays behind. And I turn and I go, well, we got a reservation. You got to go to lunch. And she goes, just give me 5 minutes. I need to speak to him. I said, okay, no problem. So she comes out, and I turn around and I'm watching her, and she's hands, and she's talking, and he's laughing, and she comes out and he goes, well, you certainly impressed him. He thought you were hilarious. She said, you don't know who he is, do you? And I go, yeah, he's one of the lawyers upstairs. She goes, that's Danny Glover. She goes, I recognized him right away. I said, so did I just didn't put a name with a face. He's one of my favorite movie stars. Never saw him again, never met him, but oh my goodness. Him and Mel Gibson made the best movies. Anyway, so that was the beginning of me not recognizing any movie stars, because I never recognized a one. Someone always had to tell me who they were after the fact. So I'm just going to talk about all the movies. He's just one. I'll make a little series of the ones that I had an experience with, that I spoke to, or that gave me very bad vibes, like Keanu Reeves. I did meet Keanu Reeves and Mark Harmon and Pam Dauber, Debbie Reynolds, Jennifer Tilly. I met quite a few. Some I had interaction with. Well, all the ones I'm going to talk about I had interaction with. There were many I saw that I never spoke to. There were many who were too good to speak to me. But I just thought you'd be interested in a little nobody meeting a simple movie star who was very famous at the time. I forget the name of not Full Metal Jacket. Oh, I forget the name of those famous movies he did with Mel Gibson. But anyway, you'll all know. You guys have a good day. And if you've met movie stars, make comments. Let's talk about anybody you've met and your experience. Danny Glover was a very nice human being and very gracious. You have a good day. I hope you do a thumbs up. Enjoy your life. Thanks.